when it's live. I don't know if it's live yet. I don't think it's live yet. Looks like it's just waiting for broadcast to be published. You're live. Right. We're live again. 2 times in one weekend. When this arrived, I couldn't wait to get it unboxed because I thought it looked rather interesting. So, hopefully no audio issues today. Hopefully no audio sync issues, which we had yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Great. We have some people. Excellent. So, decided to do a second stream today for 2 reasons. A, this arrived and it looked like it could be quite promising for the price, so I was kind of interested to open it and I need to do it on a live stream. And secondly, YouTube keeps telling me that most of my viewers are available Sunday between like 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. or something. So I was like, okay, well, let's test that. Let's do a live stream in that time period and see what happens. So here we are with the Labists ET4. So this is a 3D printer from Labists, which you can get on Amazon UK for around £250 and, well, or 260, and it's available with Prime delivery as well. So hopefully we can see everything going okay. Got some people still dropping in, so we won't go too fast just yet. We'll keep it slow. If we 3D Gus now, good afternoon. Yeah, this is going to be weird. I never know where to put all the cameras and scenes and stuff, so we'll just work on it as we go. What's the filament every time in the background? Oh, it's it's all different filaments. The blue cardboard on 2 printers is PLA. It's royal blue PLA from Ooze Nest. And the other 2, the black and the orange, are both Filament. So the Labists ET4, what do we get in the box? A user manual, which looks very thorough. It's in multiple languages, so it's in English, obviously, well, one would hope, German, French, Spanish, Italian, and Japanese. Blimey. So they're obviously selling it globally. So this is the kind of manual you can expect to get with it. Also in the box we have a belt, a 2GT belt with a couple of zip ties, a very small bit of PLA filament. Hopefully that's enough to do a sample print if it comes with one. We've got a micro SD card reader with a micro SD card in the top, a PTFE coupling and a nozzle, which does actually say 0.4mm on it. Don't know if it's spare, we'll check out that in a second. SD card, wow, it's actually a branded, ooh, this is going to be difficult. Yeah, probably not going to see that. This is it's a SanDisk 8GB card. Presumably it's actual SanDisk, otherwise they wouldn't put a logo on it. So hopefully fairly decent. The card reader maybe looks not so great, but if it works, then it should be fine. Some screws, so 6 screws, a couple of T-slot nuts, not very much. Looks like assembly should be fairly trivial if that's all we need. This bag we've got a fairly naff looking screwdriver. It's a flathead screwdriver, a couple of Allen keys and a wrench. Lucky you, a gift for you. Contact us to redeem 1 free printing bed sticker for printer. Please include the information of your order ID and shipping address in the email. Okay, well, maybe some people will get that. It doesn't have a code on it, so nobody will get that. We will roll the best printings on every 25th of each month. On 25th, okay. Well, they're obviously doing some rewards thing, so. Is it a rebrand of an ANET ET4? Didn't know there was such a thing as an ANET ET4. It looks like it potentially could be. Does look remarkably familiar, doesn't it? Well, we'll see what we get as we go along. In the box over here we have the hot end and extruder. So nozzle is in here, so you do get a spare nozzle in the box. So it smells very new. So this sticker says, tie the wire harness tightly with the cable tie to prevent the port against poor contact caused by sloshing. What? That's actually what it says. Tie the wire harness tightly with the cable tie to prevent the port against poor contact caused by sloshing. Please check again if the port is stable after you complete the assembly of your printer. It says plus as in PLS rather than PLEASE. Anyone know what sloshing is? Last time I checked, it's not something related to 3D printing. So, so this is some anti-sloshing mechanism. There we go. That PTFE tube's looking a bit, ooh, it's weird. It's very bendy. So, it's a fairly dense little hot end assembly there. You can see the heat break and whatnot down the back in here. So it looks like it's, I mean, that nozzle probably is pre-tightened. Got a sensor here, so it does have some sort of bed leveling, automatic or mesh, I don't know yet. We shall check that out in a bit. Fairly densely populated, is it? I can't really see the hot end much in there. There is a 3D printed part here, so this part is a 3D printed cooling duct. No idea what the material is. Maybe ABS probably, I would guess, but I don't know. I forgot to put tags on this video, I just realised. Never mind. I'll have to do that afterwards. There seems to be bits of like glue everywhere. So here you've got some connectors all on the back of that. It looks like it's going to be a ribbon cable. So that's your kind of gantry assembly. I'm just going to stick that down there for now while we get the box out of the way. Packing foam does not appear to be recyclable. It's standard kind of packing foam. Normally it comes in black. I don't know if the white one is significantly different in any way, but that's what you got there. Do not touch before touching the hotbed. Please power it off and wait for 10 minutes. Keep away from children. And they've got contact information on the heated bed. So this is a kind of build tacky sort of surface. It's not, well, it's not build tack, obviously. It feels actually a little bit less textured than the build tack one. A lot of packing foam. Now I've got to get rid of this as well. Huge amounts of packing foam. So we've got a glass bed. I'm going to have to stand up to get this all out. Let's just take that out as one lump. Should be able to reach in here. There is a link in the description for the Amazon page if you want to know kind of some of the specific details before we get actually into finishing the build. And then in here you have what looks like a spool holder, more foam, power cable, and what's probably going to be the other half of that spool holder. So, I guess we should just ignore general knowledge and follow the manual, because that's what a new user would do, so that's what I shall do as well. Good afternoon, Scott. I am doing well, thank you very much. I hope you are too. Basic specifications. FDM printer settings. So it's give you a bunch of settings here, which is kind of nice. You'd have to manually put those in. That's just overall dimensions, nozzle size, filament, temperature, speed. 60 is very generic. 0.1 layers, 0.8 wool, 20% infill, build plate adhesion type brim, default temperature 200. So specs again, kind of repeated. 0.4 nozzle, 250C on the nozzle. 220, 220, 250 build volume. That's the same as the Ender 3, isn't it? Isn't that 220, 220, 250? I think it is. Windows, Mac, power input 240 or 120. Working humidity 30 to 90%. That's quite specific. Auto leveling, yes. Filament run out prevention, yes. PLA and ABS. Max printing speed 150 millimeters a second, recommended 30 to 60. It's nice that they put recommended as well as maximum, just because sometimes when people put maximum print temperatures in, everyone expects to be constantly printing at that temperature, at that speed, which is not realistic. So it's nice that they put that detail in there. Size, machine weight, power loss prevention, and auto filament loader as well. List of stuff that one should find in one's box. Lots of photos for assembly. Take the printer head module, roll it from the right to left, then take the drive belt and insert the open side inwards. Once done, place the end tabs inside of the retainers either side of the module. Okay, that's a lot all in one go. I feel like it's a while since I built a printer. So again, this glue seems to be all over the place. I'm not sure what that is or where it's from, but I don't think it's going to cause any harm. So this, I think, wants me to do this. That's going to need setting, but that's fine. And then somehow put the belts on. Same kind of arrangement as the Ender 3 for the belts. So we thread the belt through here. Comes out the end here, goes into the bottom here. Interesting, there's, oh no, it's not. Around that side, down here, that in there. There doesn't seem to be any, oh, there is a bit of, oh goodness, what have I done? Can we see, okay. Oh yes, multiple angles. Come on, there we go. So that's all sloppy at the moment, but I think there's some adjustability here. Hopefully it will mention that. Do that, do that, do that. Loosen the screws to the left of the rail, then pull out the drive belt to tighten it and screw the 4 screws back in the same time. So let's use included tools. So we got 4 screws down here. which we can loosen off. It's disappointing there's no washers on them. I'd like to see those, but it's not going to be the end of the world. And there's not... This is odd. It's not very easy to tighten. It'd be nice to have an actual tensioning mechanism. This is going to be very approximate, isn't it? There's not even a great way to grip the motor, to be honest. That looks reasonably tight. Good afternoon, Des Logos. That's how I pronounce it. Des Logos. I probably get that. I know you'll hear quite a lot. I still pronounce it wrong though. Insert the cables into the adapter board following the letters on the cables. So this is what they're calling the adapter board around the back here. They've not said remove this packaging thing off the back, but I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. Doesn't look like there's any side cutters included, so I'm not sure how they're expecting you to take this off. Presumably one would need to... Oh. Clever. No tools required. It's a releasable zip tie. That seems to have protected that rather well. Hopefully that's stayed nice and straight. So there's a pretty good selection of let's see if I can get a better angle. So you've got all these connectors in here. They do seem to be labelled reasonably well. That one doesn't have anything, but they've all got like a little note on them. Hopefully this will all match up with these. So end, they're all locking connectors as well. That's really nice to see. This is the only 3-pin one, so I'm just going to guess that goes there. That's actually not a locking connector. Maybe they're not all locking. Some are locking. BL, so presumably that's bed leveling, although I'd thought that would be that one. Fan 1. Just says fan. Temp TMP is this one. And then there's an SZ, but I don't think we have an SZ, whatever that's supposed to be. And then, I see, yes, so this is where the, this little area here is what it's talking about in terms of so this little metal plate here will hold that cable. That's what it was talking about on that warning about this sloshing. So yes, this is the anti-sloshing mechanism. Insert the cables into the adapter board following the letters. Check the Bowden tube and coupler, making sure nothing blocks them and they are clear. Nothing blocks them as in on the inside. Are they expecting stuff to be on the inside? That's inserted reasonably well in there. Push the Bowden tube into the fitting, making sure it's fully plugged in. Use the supplied cable tie to tie the cables together, then tighten them to ensure a good connection. Cut off the extra parts. It's a shame we can't use the one that's already on there. So this is the 2 cable ties, presumably. Although obviously you get a third because the one that comes with the thing you can just use anyway. So let's use that. They're really fat cable ties. And then that's neither a great or bad thing. It's just an observation. push that through the wrong hole. That's one. This one will go on here too. Pull them nice and tight. It does say cut the ends off, so we shall do that. Lovely jubbly. So that's our anti-sloshing. We'll cut that warning label off now too. Use a supplied cable tie to tie the cables together. Tighten them to ensure a good connection. Cut off the extra parts. Connect the adapter board, ensuring it is pushed all the way in, and the top and bottom clips are correctly clipped on. So where's that cable then? I don't have one of those. I think there might be some unpacking over here still to do. Let's put that down. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look in here. Oh yes, probably seagulls. I'm deaf to them now because I hear them all the time. My brain just seems to cancel them out. But I do have to have the window open, so yes, there are seagulls. The rats of the sea. Here we go. Some random tape that's taping stuff together. Oh, well that's just, oh, hello. I found uncomfortable number one. Okay, I don't think we need this random piece of tape. I think it was meant to do something, but whatever it was meant to do, I don't think it seems to be doing anymore. So there's a warranty seal here. Warranty void if seal broken, so we'll break that and open the bottom because I want to see what's inside. It's no fun if we don't see what's inside. If I had a relaxing sea or screensaver, the last thing that I would have on that is seagulls. So the thing that I observed when I was a little uncomfortable was this thick wire coming out the back that looks like it's mains powered bed, which obviously is good in terms of power and low current, sort of, on much larger printers. But on a small printer like this, where the cost is low, like very low, I'm a little bit uncomfortable about the flex and whatnot that goes through that cable. So that's all those bottom screws removed. Let's take this plate off, see what we have inside. Warranty void. Oh no. So no warranty. What am I going to do without that? Can we get this to point down more? Having 3 cameras. So useful. Okay, let's go close up. Oh, it's kind of blurry. Come on, camera. Can we sort that out? Ah, it's focusing, but on the wrong thing. Don't focus on these. Ignore these. Just focus down there. Here. Here, please. Please? Thank you. No. Okay, it doesn't really want to. Sorry about that. So we have an STM32F, so it is a 32-bit ARM processor. Micro SD card accessible on the side, USB port, presumably for host printing, There's a fan on the side over here. This cable, this little one here, goes to a fan. You've got two cables. These two large ones that come down the side, they're for the touchscreen on the front. Does the touchscreen have another SD card? No, that is just touchscreen. Why does it have two cables? No idea. Seems excessive. Most would just need a set of serial connectors. I'm not sure why there's two sets of cables. Anyway, what else we got? Stepper drivers, no idea. They're all covered up with glued on heat sinks. There's also a little heat sink on this MOSFET down here, so presumably that's going to get warm. There's no very close fan. The closest fan is right on the other side of the case. The connector, the flap up here. Oh, let's carry on around the board. So this is obviously the main connector to all the X gantry. Then you have Y motor, SYYM, Z1. Okay, there's all sorts of weird connectors. These are obviously motor connectors. This one is Z. No, this is Y motor, and the 2-pin is probably the Y end stop. So they've got a 6-pin connector for end stop and motor. Z motor for this one, I believe. Z1M looks like it would be a Z motor, but not sure how that's going to work. We'll have a look at that. There's another connector here, Z2. Obviously, there's no second Z lead screw, just the one, so not both are used. Cabling on the... let's try and move this up a little bit now. STM 32F407. It would be disappointing to find A4988 drivers, but I think we'll probably hear the difference when we get it printing. Over here, obviously, you've got the mains power input. Should be fused. Let's check that. It does have a fuse. Let's see what's in it. We can use the crappy tool that came with it to extract that fuse, hopefully. There is a fuse. A 3 amp 250 volt fuse. With switch, the switch is a bit wobbly, but it doesn't really matter. So those go over there. So this big fat cable is not a mains power cable by the look of it. It's just all the bed connectors. So I think they've just used, this is really odd. There's another fuse on the board here with a connector over it for some reason. Maybe this is a mains power bed. Surely not. You wouldn't put the mains into the board. You just... What on earth is going on? I've just taken that off and now it won't go back on. Or was it not on properly before? So there's like a minus, plus, plus, and then 2 pins in the middle. Presumably that is thermistor, 2 negatives and 2 positives. So there's no mains power to the bed, hopefully. Tempted to try and check that. See if we can follow where the mains is going. Oh no, there is no mains to the board. So yeah, the mains is only to the power supply. It's not a Meanwell power supply or anything. It does just look like a generic. It's a Chengyang. I can't pronounce that properly, but it's a 240 watt, 24 volt power supply. IE, IG, VE, VG, ZG, oh golly. It's a VGT6. 9909K 9R MYS 99014 0R. There's a lot of letters on there. VG. It's the VG one then. So this is obviously that cable that it was talking about in that last step. Okay, I think that's probably enough close-up of the inside for now. For the rest of it, there's not a lot else there. It's mostly empty space. You've got the motor at the back here and the LCD touchscreen down the front, power supply in the middle. Oh, don't need that one, I don't think. Let's go straight to top down. Okie dokie, so if we get this back on here, it is kind of nice, this cover. Hopefully it doesn't rattle. We'll find out now whether the screws are buttery or not. That's just double threaded. Oops. In terms of getting support for this machine, I would expect to get some. I think as a reseller, Labists are trying to get better support. I mean, this manual is clearly their effort, right? This doesn't look like a standard manual. It's all got their images, their naming and branding all on it. So if they are charging an additional price in order to provide better support than you would get from the original manufacturer, that could be a decent argument for getting it. Same as the bodyboard from the Prusa. Nice. So now we just need to find out if those stepper drivers are matched nicely to the half-decent processor. So where were we? Before pulling the whole thing apart, somewhere over here, ribbony cable. So I don't know where this is supposed to come out. There's no obvious hole, just out the back. So, and it doesn't tell you to connect the top or anything else yet. Does it ever tell you to do that? Oh, did I start at step 2? I think I might have started at step 2. Ah, there's 2 pages really close. Ah, it's right in the bottom here. Okay, well, let's do that. It does help if you start with step 1 rather than finish with step 1. So, I'm not sure what the best way to do this is. You can't do it like they suggest from vertically. You can't really do this either. At a slightly dodgy angle. Ooh, the whole thing's spinning. Just realised I haven't taken the packaging off yet. God darn it! Right, the stickery stuff on the bed can be sorted later. Let's try this again. Okay, so that should be that screw in there. It's just loose in at the moment, so hopefully I can get one down the other end too. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Nope, that's not going well. There should be source code, I presume. It's I'm guessing it'll be Marlin based. Nearly every printer is, isn't it? I suppose if it's a resale of the what was it? Labists ET4, then I guess it kind of might depend on them a little bit. Cool, right. I don't know why there's a big hole in the side. Oh, maybe this is supposed to come out this hole. Ah, ha, ha. There you go. I mean, there's no strain relief at all on that, but cool. Okay, we're getting somewhere, I think. Maybe, possibly, a bit. Cool. Step 1 done. Back to step 9. Step 2, step 1. Oh, there's like step 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. This is step 1, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it goes to step 2, 1, 2, da, 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 da. Anyway. Right, this cable. Stick the cable in the thing. So this is a ribbon cable. It's connected in the side here. So should just press fit in here. Nothing really supporting this ribbon cable, which is a little bit unfortunate, but at least unlike the artillery, which didn't have any clamps, this has got some clamps on both sides. You just got to... Oh, well, that just flew out, but didn't go in quite right. There we go. That's a really solid connection. That's not coming out in a hurry. I mean, the downside is obviously sort of pointing in the wrong direction, but you can't have them all. Interesting. Connect the hotbed connector and Z-axis motor. Well, the hotbed connector is not a hotbed connector. They have changed that to screw onto the bed and have some clamps. Let's get a closer shot of that. Don't know if this is an A-net modification or a Labists modification. If we take a closer look down here, it's odd. So if we look at the manual, this picture right here, you can see this is the bed at the top, and it wants you to put the connector in the back. If we look at the bed, you can see there's this like block. Oh, that's a clip for the bed. So it's like block here which holds it, and then there's just soldered wires up directly onto the bed. So hopefully this clamp, whatever material is that made of, I really don't know, some plastic. Hopefully that is going to hold that well. I mean, there's no strain relief here, given that there's screw holes and stuff here, it would be nice to maybe modify this to have some strain relief. I'm not sure how much. Yeah, that's not really, that cable just moves in and out, so I'm not sure that clamp is doing much, if anything. Let's have a closer look at that. Let's see if we can get all this plastic off. Easier said than done. I'm just ignoring the instructions now. I think this is I'm a little bit curious about so presumably this is just some basic thermal resistant polymer. That is loose in the top, so that you should be able to tighten this sufficiently, as long as they've designed the cutout to be the right size. You should be able to clamp that cable. But if the cutout is larger than the cable, then no matter how tight you do it, it's not going to clamp it. So we'll see what we get here. There we go, that's a bit better. So, it's not much better. I think that's still going to slide, to be honest. What's the nest instruction? Z motor. It asks you to do all these things without taking the other bit off. So, there's this thing tied down here with some tape. And we can't really get that in there. So there's these green things that are used to cover. Blimey, they're difficult to get out. They've been used to stop the, oh my goodness, to stop the bed moving during transit. Convenient. Not. How are you supposed to get this stuff out? Use an Allen key. Stick it in the end and pull it out. And then grab it. There we go. I don't think we want to put that back in anywhere. We'll just leave it out. So now we can slide the bed forwards. Now you can see the belt arrangement for Y as well. Really sloppy belts. Does again have some tightening, but no washers on the screws. We should be able to put this Z motor connector carefully on this motor. This hole is really close to the motor, so it's not super easy. Get the filament holder. So I guess that's what these two shorter screws are for. Oh, so there are Google Drive links for it. I wonder if Labists have a separate downloads for theirs, or if it is just the same. It's not totally clear where it expects you to put this, but obviously it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, well, I'll put it here. It's probably not a good place, but I'm going to put it here because it looks like this is where they might suggest you put it. The screws are a bit long, so they're cutting right into the aluminium extrusion. This thing is green. It's very green at the moment. Connect the power supply and power on the printer. Load the filament. We haven't even... Okay, so it doesn't recommend taking this sticker off. I don't know what this sticker is supposed to be. It looks much thicker than your standard kind of cutting thing. I don't know if they put it on there just to make it look green, have they? Really? Surely not. That seems odd. And this belt is super sloppy, so I'm going to sort that out as well. Well, I'm going to try, but these are crazy tight. I think a lot of these printers do look similar from like pictures online, but I think it's quite interesting to see where the cost goes. Like, which things do they try to make a little bit better? Which things do they try to make a little bit cheaper? Where's the improvement really trying to go? What are they trying to make better than other printers? The classic, just pull it as tight as you can with your hands tightening feature. Yeah, there's no washers on these screws, so the surface contact's pretty small. So they're going to damage us whatever surface you tighten them into. Nice little locking connector on the end switch. Okay, that's guitar string now, so that's a bit too tight, but it's better than being super loose. Okay, I'm going to take this big sticker off the front because I don't think I want to be heating this big sticker, to be honest. It doesn't look like a print surface, considering they provided a Biltac one and the glass, so whatever this is, I don't think I want it. It's now much less green. Other than that, I'm going to assemble it pretty much as it was before we took everything apart. Well, I would. There we go. It's interesting that they have a glass surface and a probe that's non-contact. So this will be a capacitive probe rather than an inductive probe, which means it's really quite sensitive to heat. So that's interesting. And then in the operation section, after loading filament, they're talking about... That's weird. Okay, let's carry on following the instructions now that we've ignored them for a couple of minutes. Connect the power supply and power on the printer. Insert the filament into the filament runout detector. Squeeze the stepper motor and feed the filament into the coupler. The filament. Do we use this filament, or this is like a pearly filament? I'm tempted just to use it. Oh, I forgot the top of the spool holder as well. Well, this is not ideal, is it? I'm going to turn this around. Oh, come on. Yeah, these screws are too long. They need to be shorter. Oh, that's too much. Get this on here. Right, the question is, what size filament spools can we take? It doesn't look like it's going to take a full width spool, to be honest, which is a little unfortunate. What's this? ABS? I don't think so. My filament collection is a bit of a mess. So this is PTG, Prusament spool. Oh, it fits that. Should we do, I'd rather do PLA for first print, just because it's a little bit easier. Oh, I suppose we should do green. Seeing as this is the green machine, I think this is the only, it's the most expensive green I have, but it's also the only green I have. Mystic Green. It's also kind of brown. How much is the Labists ET4 Pro? That would be interesting to know. Oh, I need to plug it in. Fingers crossed for... Oh, where's the power plug? Why is it... Oh, that's not ideal. Power plugs the opposite side to normal. Right, let's make sure we've got cameras all set up to capture the magic smoke. Yeah, so $250, $260. I mean, this is £250. So, but then it's, I mean, Amazon Prime, you get tomorrow. Link in the description, by the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this stream so far. They've mentioned nowhere about tightening this. Although the instructions are kind of good, they're also not great. It's good for what's... Also, don't do this. Also, I think this lead screw has absolutely no lubricant on it, so that's not great. There we go. That should do that. That one's not moving. Those wheels all seem reasonable. Cool. Seems to have manual leveling wheels, but also a probe. Okay, I guess it's time to turn it on. Let's see what happens. Power supply fan is not too loud, definitely present. So we've got some language options: Italian, English, French, Dutch, Spanish, and is it Japanese, or presumably Japanese like the manual was? I want English, definitely. Oh, there's not like a setup, it's just that's what the menu is. Is it? Yeah, okay, everything's green, of course. Print, there's no files on there. Preheat options, presumably that's bed. Nozzle. Filament load. Leveling. Settings. Manual level. Yeah. Oh, this is like baby stepping, I think. Yeah, not totally obvious. Upgrade. Upgrade fail. I think that's firmware update. You can put firmware on the SD card. Model ET4, volume, company, Labists, website. So you've got info on there. Print files. Filament load, leveling, preheat. Fairly basic, but also should be also sufficient operation. This is getting questionable now. Printing process for first print. See detail below. Picture 1. Check whether the power supply is connected. Turn on the printer. Yeah, this is saying see detail below it, but it's not below. It's above and it's on the previous page. Check whether the power supply is connected. Turn on the printer. Home the printing head. I mean, it doesn't say how you would do that. I guess some users might just push it and try and force it. I don't know. I'm going to go... Well... Ooh! That's loud. Wow! Wow, that's loud! Damn! And did you see that bend as well? Jesus Christ. Wow. That was terrifically loud. Damn, okay. I'm going to get some lubricant. Well, that's a bit disappointing, isn't it, eh? If I use this printer for more than, well, today, it's going to need a different control board, I think. Oh, it's so disappointing. The location of these wires is also highly disappointing because they're going to catch on something. There's nothing really holding them in a decent place. Let's move this further up. Okay, this is the laziest lubrication method ever, but it's so loud. That's such a disappointment. Yeah, I've got a few Ender 3 control boards now, so I think one will be going in this. It's helped having some lubrication on the... okay, I way overdid that lubrication. There's now a huge like dollop of lubricant. Okay, so... was there a Z stepper motor? No. Ah, okay, right. Oh shit. Whew, that was close. Y. Okay, that's 0 is way past the end. Stick that there. Stick that there. And then bring this Z down. Tiny bit at a time. Okay. Z's at 2, well, it looks like it only shows integers. Well, that's rubbish, isn't it? Well, this bed is very not level. Okay, so what we're going to do, as it suggests, paper level this. Oh. Okay, that's about nozzle height. And then we've got to move the capacitor sensor down, I think. Picture 4. Ensure that after assembling the machine, tighten the nuts beneath the build plate by hand with the power off. Check the distance between the build plate and the nozzle by placing a standard A4. Ensure the head is approximately 2 to 3 millimeters away from the platform, slightly higher than the thickness of a ruler. Thickness of a ruler? Thickness of a ruler? Since when is ruler thickness a standard measure? 2 to 3 millimeters. So, I mean, that's not very... This looks like it could be 2 to 3 millimeters. It's 1.5. That plus a bit. But does it even have a... That doesn't fit in there. Okay, well it does say tighten all of these, doesn't it? Let's do that. It's just really like a odd thing to do to tighten those all the way down, but there you go, that's what it said. Oh, sorry, yeah, we do have a we do have the Streamlabs bot, so try not to message too much. Okay. Yeah, it just bends the whole thing each time it homes because the sensor's too high relative to the nozzle, and they don't provide you. Doesn't look like any decent way to adjust that. Turn the 4 nuts beneath the printing platform until the 4 corners of the build plate and the bottom base is horizontally consistent. The printer was leveled before shipping. No, I don't think so. It was miles off. However, users may need to make some adjustments. Auto leveling. The auto leveling sensor don't work on glass print bed. You can paste the black print bed sticker to it before auto leveling. Power on the printer. What? There's no Z end stop, is there? I don't think I'm being blind, but I'm pretty sure there's no Z end stop. So you can't home the printer without you. What? What? Manual. Upgrade info manual. No. Didn't want to do that. Did not want to do that. So they did something before. Level. Manual leveling. It's just going to auto home again. It was just leveled. Leveled as in flattened by a brick. So it has glass, but they want you to put this on it. There's a capacitive sensor, so that's not going to make. This is not going to change what that's sensing anyway. Power on the printer. Press setting manual home to home the extruder. Prepare leveling, manual leveling. The nozzle will move to the center of the platform. Use plus minus to adjust the offset value, changing the distance between the build plate and the nozzle. Make sure there is a small gap. Once done, set the leveling point. The nozzle will move above this point on the build plate. This is just useless. Because the sensor's in the wrong place. Then you need to move that sensor, otherwise it's not going to work, is it? Daniel Power. The StreamBot's bot really likes to get you, doesn't it? So what we're going to do here is manually set this, sort of. So we're going to move Z . Of course I can't move beyond the... I know. It's going to let me move into negative numbers just by default, so that's an interesting setting. Ooh. Okay, we'll do it to that distance there. There needs to be some Z offset measure somewhere, because otherwise it's never going to go to where it needs to go. So it has to be about there. In fact, is one of these Allen keys? I think one of these will be 3mm. .5. That sounds like a good deal. Let's stick this under here. Drop that on. Okay, well that's just not. I don't think that's going to work, is it? The 1.5. This will make this higher than it currently. That's now not triggering. It's very close to, but it's not. So that also doesn't work. This will work. So that's 1.5 mil. 2, what was it? 1.5. Okay, so if we now go prepare, auto leveling. Okay, but it hasn't hasn't done any. I'm expecting a kind of meshy beddy level thingy. Oh, I see. You have to do it manually. I think you have to do each point manually. Oh. No. Well, maybe I haven't read enough. Leveling prep, auto leveling. It don't work on glass print bed. Well, it does, but press OK. The leveling interface to check the distance. Should be exactly the thickness of paste paper. If you press plus, the nozzle will begin printing further away from the build plate. Press OK to save the value. Refer to the images on this to see successful picture 7. Maintenance FAQs. Why does the estimated print time not reflect actual? Why is nothing printing? Why won't my print stick? Why is my print warping? Well, this is the rest of the instructions. Yeah. Half a metre from a printer is obviously too close. Well, this is interesting, isn't it? I'm not seeing anything that looks like auto leveling. So, auto leveling section. Power on the printer. Press setting, manual, home. Setting, manual, home. Okay, next, press prepare, leveling, auto leveling, yes. Okay, well I can't press prepare from here. Prepare, level, auto. Oh, why did it not do that before? Yes. The printer has a total of 25 points that it must check to auto. 25, there's 9 indicated. The auto leveling process takes approximately 6 minutes. Press on the OK. Oh my god, it's so loud. What is it doing? Wow, don't rush. I can see that's what you said. I did read it and I did try it. I went to that menu and I pressed auto and it did nothing. I think I was like in the middle of another process that it was trying to do or something, and so it didn't work. Well, while I can listen to this absolute racket, it's so loud. Bearing in mind, if I hadn't set that sensor height correct, this process would probably break something. There's a QR code here. I'm going to scan it and see what it is. Where's my QR code scanner? Just goes to labists.com. So while this is going on, I shall shout over the top of it. This is the Labists ET4 3D printer. You can buy it now at the link in the description below. It's approximately £250 on Amazon, but probably also available from other places. It's a 32-bit control board, but unfortunately paired with probably what sounds like A4988 stepper drivers, because it's exceptionally loud, or it's just better stepper drivers that have been really badly configured to use 16 microsteps. Yeah. I can't believe how loud this is. Like, everyone in the building can probably hear this. And this is on a really thick, sturdy desk as well. So it's, if you put it on one of these like IKEA lack tables, man, it's gonna, yeah, it'll be loud. But if we excuse the noise for just a minute, other than that, it is actually, oh, it's so loud. It's quite promising. Ooh, was that it? Complete leveling. Okay. And it gives you a little grid. I do quite like that. That's nice. Why are they all minus? So I could then adjust. I can see it's not level. So now that I have all this data, I can see, amazingly, that it is also mostly symmetrical. So you can see minus 0.1, minus 0.3, minus 0.6, and then 0.2, 0.4, 0.2. That symmetry tells me that the bed itself is a fairly flat plane, apart from this curious 0 value in the middle. But this corner is high and this corner is low. So if I was to tighten this one, or loosen this one, or maybe a little bit of both, I could sort that out. But I don't really want to listen to this printer any more than I have to. Let's I think we've done leveling. I think we got the nozzle distance okay. Let's get some filament in. Preheat. Damn it, why do touchscreen printers not have proper preheat options? I've noticed this with like all the TFTs and stuff I've used so far. They all have preheaters, just input the temperature. There's not one for like PTG, go. PLA, go. Anyway, that's a bit of a rant, but... Oh. It does. You just press play. Cool. That's going to 220/50C. Well, that stopped that rant, didn't it? It's not very clear. It's just a play button. But it does do a thing. Oh, it looks like I flipped 2 pages again. This was not the end. This manual, man. It's all stuck together. Look here. I found the pages on auto leveling. Here you go. Here's some more menu stuff. Load filament. Get a roll of 1.75mm filament. Neatly trim the end at a 45-degree angle and feed it through the filament detector to the extruder. To load the filament, press prepare, filler LD, load. The printer will begin to load the filament once the extruder reaches the set temperature. If the printer works properly, you will find an evenly extruded filament coming out of the nozzle. If no filament comes out of the extruder, please press the load button again. To unload the filament, print. Save your print G-code onto the TF card. If you need more information on how to do this or a guide to slicing, insert the TF card into the slot on the left-hand side of the printer. It is on the left as well. I thought it was on the right. Select the file you wish to print on the touchscreen. In the print job, if you need to change the filament, press loading or unloading a filament, stop printing, set extruder temperature, blah, 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 blah. User interface. Yeah, see, this is where I should have read the manual because there's a lot more description on what these buttons actually do. So that's disable motors, current position. This should not be integer values, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And that offset is what I did already, minus 0.7 to get that nozzle in the right position relative to the sensor. Cool. Now we have actually got to the end of the manual. So this coupling and nozzle are spares, so that's quite nice. If you were to damage it or it comes loose over time, you've got a spare. Likewise with the nozzle, if you do make a mess of it, you've got a spare. Some filament. It's filament. I would not hold out much hope for its quality, and it's not a huge amount. But if you don't have any, like if you didn't remember or you didn't know that you need to buy separate rolls of filament than what you get with your printer, then it's nice to have at least something to have something. Especially if you're building it with children or something, it's nice to give them an actual print. So that's heated up by the look of it. Let's stick this in and see if there's something. Oh, is it the other way around? Not the biggest fan of micro SD, to be honest. Can be a little bit fiddly. It says a 45-degree angle. Which 45-degree angle? I'm just going to do the way I do with the Ender 3. That way. Feed it through the filament sensor. And then it goes up because you can't control it. The extruder is metal, which is good. But the... Oh, that's gone in quite nicely. I'm just going to manually load this in rather than try and auto-load it. There was some black filament in there already. Now that's coming out. Hopefully what was in there was PLA. That nozzle's sticking out a long way, actually. I feel like there's going to be a lot of temperature drop as a result of that. But I'm also not the biggest fan of glass. I used to use glass quite a lot, but it has to be like perfectly clean. Let's see where we get to. Print. You've got a cat, a rocket, a dog. Rocket's only 0.5 hours, so that looks like a reasonable option. That is all the options. Rocket. I think this is probably what we printed in the last build that I did. What was that? The other Labists one. That was a little rocket, wasn't it? I think so, with a raft. So, well, these arrows are in confusing places. So 2 at the top looks like your nozzle temperature, current and target. Likewise for the bed, current and target. And then speed. I don't know why there's 2 sets of arrows, that's really odd. Okay, so you have to slide between heated bed and whatever, I think, to change what that does. And then that switches between fan and speed. That does nothing. It is currently cooling down to 40 degrees on the bed. I have a feeling this may not work first time. Well, that's really high. And there's nothing coming out. And the nozzle's a country mile above the bed. How did it get so high? I don't understand. Oh my days. Right. Okay, I think the point that we're making about the bed is maybe that while it does work, it's not consistent with glass. So they have included this sticker. So I'm going to secure this sticker to this glass. If you were going to do this for a much longer term than I might, you probably want to clean this off first. And then carefully apply the sticker, starting in one edge or one corner. To the person asked, yes, they did send this to me. I have not purchased this printer, but they have also not paid for any review or coverage. They've just sent me the printer. Oh, now the clips won't go on. Oh, well, that's just fantastic. Okay. Because the sticker is basically exactly the same size as the glass bed, it's not that easy to get it on with perfectly centrally. So I'm just using a deburring tool to cut the excess off on each of the edges. And then it will be aligned to the glass. Nope, can't get that on. Okay, that's one. Might just stick with 2 for now. going to be more than enough. They're quite stiff. Prepare, level, manual. Manual leveling, no offset, auto leveling minus 0.7. What? I don't understand this at all. Yeah, they really should be supporting, providing that firmware. I will talk to them about it. Totally honest, I didn't check. Well, this is naff, isn't it? Okay, well, I'm just going to slice a file because I think they might have added some offset or something to the Z-axis. So let's test out this little micro SD card reader, see if this is any good. So there's this user manual on here, which is probably, yeah, the same one that it was provided with. There's also a zipped file. Let's find out what that has on it. TFT text files USB. Rule of marketing: adding $30 in cost to the printer means adding $60 to sale price. Thanks for joining, Gusner. Thanks for sticking around. I shall see you again soon, I'm sure. So, software on here. I'm not sure what on earth this is. It's probably a Cura profile. Okay, there's some weird software executables that I'm not sure I want to run. Slice and print connections. Some Cura and print configuration. So let's find, no, not that. Do the same print I did on yesterday's stream. PLA, we'll use the Ender 3 profile. I think that would probably work. See if this is going to work. Apart from being very loud, I think this printer could have some decent functionality to it. It's not perfect, is it? I don't think they've sussed. It seems to me like they perhaps didn't really understand quite how auto bed leveling works when they set it up. Because there's nothing in your manual about adjusting that sensor position. And there's no way you can get it right without it. As you said, as you saw there, the nozzle just crashed into the bed on every occasion. So we'll see what this profile looks like. Blimey, it's 6:05 already. I mean, this is the, seeing as that sensor is the only Z enter. Oh, of course, it's then, I think it's because it's homing on a hot bed. I think the sensor gets completely thrown off. So maybe it was, what was set up was maybe correct for when the bed is hot. So maybe I shouldn't have adjusted it. Oh no, that looks good. It's oozing like nobody's business. I don't know why it's going there. It's miles away from the bed. Absolutely miles away from the bed. And there's no way to tune it. And it's noisy as hell. Why is it so far from the bed? No, I can't rescue that. It's unrescuable. Wow, it's just, the volume is incredible. Do you see it does that stutter every time? I don't know if you can notice from your angle, but it stutters every single time it moves. These are very conservative positions. That's now really close. There's no central one. Why is there not a central one? Let's do this again. Was there no offset there? Yeah, see in the auto one it says minus 0.7. Sorry, you can barely see that on this. It does say minus 0.7 here, but on the manual one it's at 0. I'm not sure quite. What that's all supposed to mean. Maybe I just need to set the manual one to minus 0.7 as well. But it looked like, to me on that first print that it tried, it looked like it was off by more than a millimetre. Yeah, it is doing the auto bed level now. I mean, the heater's not on, but it is warm. What is the bed temperature? Prepare, preheat. Bed's at 50, it started at 55, so it's not hot. This leveling is just so excessive. 9 points would be easily sufficient. And the fact that it does it at such incredibly low speed is quite honestly ridiculous. I don't like this move. Why is this so slow? There's no reason for this to be so slow. Here we go, at last. Ooh. What's it doing? Oh, it's moving. It is going down. Why? I think it got a bit confused. Where's the reset button? There's no panic button. Just power it off. No idea what it's doing. Bye bye. Does at least have Labists on the screen. Right. Settings. No. Prepare. Let's use the other thing. Level. Menu. It was. I think it wasn't happy with me pressing buttons while it was. Oh my god! It's so loud. Let's get this. Oh, it doesn't need anything like that amount now. Its response when you press each of these buttons is just so confusing. In the manual, OK was to save, so why is it homing? But of course, now I've got the paper there, it's going to be a totally different distance. I think it's going to be pretty much my last attempt because it's too frustrating and too loud. It's giving me a headache. Maybe we'll try and do 14 more minutes if it will manage that. What's it doing? Getting hot with the nozzle right above the bed. Great plan. Bed should be pretty much there. There's also a bit of a lack of strain gauge on the wire. Yeah, I mean, overall, if we were to summarize, as with many cheap printers, it does fall flat in some key areas. The simple things are kind of okay, like the basic kinematics is not too bad. The fact that they've used metal extruder is good. This bend in the PTFE tube could cause some issues with friction. It's unbelievably loud, in case I hadn't mentioned that. This cable, the ribbon cable that comes out the side, is just no management at all. The cable out the back, the auto level just doesn't seem to work because this is still miles above the bed. Okay, we're actually a decent place. I think it heard me say that this was the last opportunity. And it's doing its best, but it's still miles away from the bed. The auto leveling just doesn't really do it. Yeah, this nozzle is just... The fact that it was absolutely fine with the paper, with offset, put the paper under, and it's perfect level, and now it's just miles above the bed. It's just frustrating. There's no data to show you the Z position. Print setup. Yeah, that changes speed. Temperature. Yeah, but moving the bed sensor is just so coarse. You can't just move it a fraction of a millimeter. Humans are just not that good. There needs to be, you get it roughly in the place relative to the nozzle tip, then you do a level, and then you work out the difference between the nozzle and the sensing height, and that's your little offset that you have to refine the distance of the nozzle. But when the distance that the sensor seems to be sensing is different by significant fractions of a millimeter every single time, yeah, and the fact there's no baby step during printing for live Z adjust is pretty much the nail in the coffin for any chances of success, sadly. My Ender 3 profile is pretty slow. Excuse me. I'm not going to be able to put that build tack on that aluminium now. That's good and stuck. There's no way that's coming off. I can turn the knobs on the bottom while it's printing, this is true. But it's not, the problem is you adjust it, if you adjust it with the knobs while it's printing, the next print it will do exactly the same as it did at the start of the last one. Because it'll just sense the new bed height and have exactly the same problem. So every print you'll just be moving the bed up after it's started, re-leveling it during the print every single time. It's just useless. What did this say about the glass? Did I misunderstand what it was talking about with the glass? Please note that auto leveling sensor don't work on glass print bed. That was faster than expected. You can paste the black print bed sticker to it before auto leveling. So that's saying you can put the black sticker on the glass and then it works. So that's exactly what I've done. I mean, it's got in plastic, but it is not really attached to the surface. Overall, I'm not sure I can recommend this printer really. The instructions have a lot of detail, but they're still missing some steps, I think, in providing thorough instruction. It's better than most. The assembly guide with all the pictures is kind of nice, and I missed the first step. I think it would be nice if that was just on the other page. I don't think it needs to go there. The fact that they support a number of languages is nice, so if you struggle with English, which many printers have, and you need something with a different language, that could be a reason. I mean, this print is absolutely appalling. Right, there's no point in me going any further with this. Oh, come on, out the way, thank you. So that's the perimeter is not even stuck to the inside. It all just comes apart. Looks like the extrusion multiplier in this top layer is not quite right either. Auto bed level just doesn't seem to work quite right. It's a big shame with the noise as well. Having a 32-bit board is decent, but obviously that's cheaper than 8-bit now, so it's obvious that you would make that choice. But A4988 stepper drivers is just really not the right way to go at this point. It's so loud, and expectations, even on low-cost machines like this, are for not silence, but significantly quieter than this. This is probably one of the loudest, if not the loudest printer I've ever used. And I think that might be in part to this steel box at the bottom. I think it's maybe acting a little bit as a speaker, and just having that vibration is just causing to amplify so much that it just becomes excessively loud. Safety wise, I'm a bit concerned about this cable at the back, although the one at the top is probably just about okay. The ribbon at the side, I'd expect someone to snag on that somehow, probably I don't know. But at least the connector that it uses is locking, so if it was semi-protected by other means, then at least it's not going to fall out of its own accord. Having auto bed level is nice. The fact that it's there, I would say, is a good thing over a standard Ender 3 which has no auto leveling. But auto leveling that's bad is unfortunately really worse than manual leveling, and I would count this as a bad implementation or a not good implementation. It was disappointing in the functionality. The screen was not particularly clear with what it was trying to do, how it was trying to do it, whether the values were getting saved. Even once getting it right with the paper, it just didn't really, like, you would go to the print after getting it right with the paper and it's just totally different. Not ideal. That may be a factor of the capacitive sensor. Maybe if you level at 70 degrees and always print at 70 degrees, you might be able to get some half decent consistency, but it does seem improbable. It seems like there's too much variation in either the sensing or just the firmware is not saving that offset value. Again, then while printing, you can't adjust using manual baby stepping or live Z adjust. You also can't move the wheel. Well, you can move the wheels up and that would correct it for that print, but you'd have exactly the same problem next time. So overall, unfortunately in this case, this very sad print is an example of why I don't think I can recommend this printer. If you want it as a project, it could be a fairly cheap way to get a number of parts to help you start onto something bigger and better. Maybe not bigger, but something better. But control board upgrade will probably be something I do early on in order to reduce the noise, and maybe changing that sensor, or just, I mean, you'd get new firmware with a new board, so you'd have to work that out, but then you'd probably need to change the TFT unless you can get compatibility sorted with the wiring and all this kind of stuff. So that's a lot of things I've just said, but I think that's overall my summary on the first look of the Labists ET4, which appears to be a resale of the ANET ET4, also ET4/ET4 Pro. Presumably these printers are all very similar, although I've not looked or tested those at all. Also, there's no side cutters, so yeah. Anyway, I think that's probably going to sum it up there for me today. It was nice to do 2 streams in one weekend. I'm pretty happy with how this has gone in terms of a stream, not in terms of the actual printer itself. Thank you everyone for joining me. It's been nice chatting with you as we go along with this build and sharing information on our own experiences on various 3D printers. Well, this is not great either, is it? It looks like it's rubbing on the wheels. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, as I mentioned yesterday on the live stream, there is a video coming that's uploaded and will be scheduled for Wednesday this week. That's Marlin Advanced Configuration, so you can look forward to that if you're interested in configuring Marlin, modifying Marlin for your own printer upgrades, modifications, or DIY builds. Don't forget to like and subscribe now that we're at the end of the video. If you have enjoyed it, of course, don't forget to subscribe. That is a great way to support the channel as we grow into bigger and better things. So, yes, that's a great way to do yes. All summed up, save your money. Yeah, I would probably not spend on this. I would probably save it up and spend it on something else. We will be doing more printer reviews and builds and stuff as we go along. So, as I mentioned, get subscribed and we'll find a printer for you eventually, I'm sure. It's just probably not this one. If you're looking at other printers for about this price, one I would recommend is the Prusa Mini. It's in the cabinet over there. You can sort of see it in the cabinet just here. So it is a bit more expensive than this. It's around £350, and the print volume is smaller, but it's silent. It has leveling that works. It has greater support from Prusa. It's Bowden design, has a very responsive screen that's not a touch screen, but it's a very good printer at a little bit more cost. Or alternatively, go Creality Ender 3, which is cheaper, less complex, no auto leveling, nothing fancy, but works and is a decent printer for a lower cost. Huh, great. What a lot of waffle. Okay, excellent. I think we are done there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Everyone, have a very nice week and a great rest of the weekend. Bye for now.